Hello, and welcome to QuickBooks in the Real World. This is Marie Gibson, where I encourage business owners to learn just enough about their QuickBooks softwares so that they can use it quickly, easily, effectively, efficiently, and of course, accurately. We want to get our numbers from our reports so that we can use those numbers to make decisions. So this module is about our chart of accounts and learning how the chart of accounts is the hub or the traffic cop of the software program. And as you know, this particular program, if you watched our first introduction, is specifically about using QuickBooks in the real world. It's not just the point and click. It's not just learning the tools. It's not just going to YouTube and understanding how to use each little feature. This is what the overall integrated version of QuickBooks would look like. Some of us do our own accounting and our own bookkeeping. It doesn't mean that as you grow, you wouldn't actually have somebody else pitching in and helping you. I encourage business owners to do what they do best and let others help them, especially if numbers and accounting is not your forte. However, it is important enough to know and have enough knowledge and know just enough so that you can protect yourself and you can learn to read those reports. So when we're talking about our chart of accounts, I'm going to share my screen here. I'm actually using the desktop version and want to make sure that we're here, and visually you can see that it's laid out with the little icons and the drop down menus. We've had an overall intro before, and so when we're looking at the particular software, and I do have the QuickBooks Online version, so if you've stumbled across this and you're using QuickBooks Online, be sure to reach out to me and I'll make sure that you get the correct version. So let's go to our chart of accounts. To find chart of accounts, you can find that in a number of different ways, but you can reach up to company and hit the chart of accounts. You can use Control A, or if you're at home, you can find your chart of accounts here. Those all lead to the same place. And if you remember, our chart of accounts is an organizational tool that helps direct the transactions into the reports. So that's what we want are the reports. We want the profit and loss report. We want the balance sheet report. And so in accounting, we have 5 major types of accounts. So that's assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. And in QuickBooks chart of accounts, you can see the same thing. We have assets, and then as we go, and the QuickBooks software breaks it down into little subdivisions. So we have current assets, which would be those that we will probably use up in less than a year. We'd have fixed assets, which are more permanent, more like capital investments, capital improvements. And then here we switch to liabilities, our accounts payable, people that we owe money to, vendors and suppliers who we owe money to, our credit cards, some current liabilities. And again, current liabilities would be those less than a year old. Long-term liabilities are those that are going to take us more than a year to pay. Our equity, our income, several different income accounts, Larry's Landscaping. And again, this is a sample company. I never disclose confidentiality on my clients, but I happen to like, as a costing accountant, I like seeing 5 or 6 or 7 different types of costs so that I can hone those a little bit more clearly. And then our expenses, our overall expenses, our overall general operations, you might call. So the operating expenses, you can't necessarily track those to any one particular job. The cost of goods sold, you can actually track to specific costs, specific jobs that you're working on, specific projects, right? And that's the distinction between the two. So each of these is a mapping portal, so to speak, so that when we actually enter something and we use that account, it will land on our balance sheet. It will land in one of these accounts on our balance sheet. It will land on our profit and loss report. It will land on one of these accounts in our profit and loss. If I don't particularly like where something's located, I can actually drag and drop. So I can use this tool. You can see that I have the little diamond on the left. And let's say I prefer it down there. Immediately upon refreshing this report, that particular account would be relocated down where you had dragged and dropped. It's very visual. We're very visual learners. And so people absolutely love when they can see things moving around. Let's say I don't want meals and travel at the very top. I would go back to my chart of accounts. I would take this meals, and let's say Larry's really wants that more towards the bottom. Some people put them alphabetical. I actually find that most business owners do better if they're not alphabetical. When you read these, you really do prefer to see the meat and potatoes, so to speak. You like to see your larger income at the top, your larger expenses at the top, right? This one happens to be Ask the Boss. We were playing with that before. You can double click on these reports. You can see that I needed some clarification for that. And I just said, Ask the Boss. So you can make your chart of accounts read anything that you like. People say, well, that terminology doesn't work for me, or that's not the terminology I would want. You can right click, you can edit the account, and you can change those and then save. And now that is the terminology that you would use. So again, a chart of accounts is a very special feature in the QuickBooks. It's in QuickBooks Desktop. It's in all the versions of QuickBooks. And it's on all versions of accounting software. A chart of accounts is the mapping tool that leads into those reports. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Please join me in our Facebook group, and you're welcome to post questions or ask some more clarifications about our chart of accounts. Look forward to talking to you soon.